did you miss me? Let's go. You know who it is, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. What? I don't want to be like other podcasts. Other podcasts bore me. What? I'm Raiders! Woo! Let's go! I missed you too. Oh, let's go! No, I'm just saying already, there's a lot to talk about, okay? And it's all good stuff, and you know this. Yes, the mustache is still here. I know. Don't interrupt my show. Often imitated, never duplicated, that fool with no hair, that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! The R8RBEAR! What? You heard me. R8RBEAR! What's up, fam? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you all tuning in. R8RBEAR family page. And I love you all. I miss you so much. It's been so long. What? Stuff was going on, okay? Give me a break. You know, people got things to do. I'm a grown-ass man, even though I may not act like one at all times. That's not relevant. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Let's start over. Appreciate it. I can't remember what we usually do here. What was it I used to say? Let me think here. Tradish! R8RBEAR Live! First comment. MVP. Woo! MVP to... Woo! MVP tonight goes to the reigning, defending heavyweight champion of the world, Mark Vargas. You know, don't leave any mystery, Mark. 1, 2, 3. You got 4 comments before anyone could come in second. What's up, champ? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. Numero uno. Second place, my silver medal goes to John the Lion. Leon! Always catching L's. That's just because that's a legacy. You know what I mean? The man's a legacy at this point. You know, just get over it. You know, you can not like it, and he won't care. It's an old saying. It was the Road Warriors in WCW. That was, yeah, they were in WCW at that point. Third place, my bronze medal goes to, and I love it when my man from Mount Rushmore wins one, David Pell Kaliva! Ooh, variations on the name tonight. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there to free everyone from tyranny and harm. My guy, David DPC Pell Kaliva. What's up, man? Welcome to the show. Honorable mention to Lucky Pace, who was right there, even on YouTube. I think he's on Facebook too. Edwin Catalan Jr., what's up? Welcome to the show. My good friend Bob Standard, I see you there. Hi, Casey. Ramiro Cashflow Castro, always in the house. That's my guy right there, broadcasting from his closet. I don't know how many years ago that was. Ramiro, is there something wrong with me if every time I think back to that day when you and I were live that it makes me laugh? Just know that. Every time I think of you in that day, it makes me laugh. every single time. So I appreciate you. Much love. All right, my Facebook peoples. That's right, the people who got me here, okay? YouTube don't know nothing about me yet, okay? Facebook's my peoples. That's my familia. La raza. First place, gold medal tonight. Numero uno, not the heavyweight champion of Facebook. No, mild upset tonight. We have the man who's always in a battle with the person in first place, the champion. This is his rival, the man, Lucky Pace. That sultry sounding son of a gun. Oh, I met him in person. It's true. He got that Barry White voice. Me and him could have done some things when we were younger and single. Okay, I'm telling you right now. Okay, anyway, second. Appreciate you, Lucky. You're always there for R8RBEAR. Oh, I love this second place. Second place, my silver medal goes to Joe Holman. Joe, what are you doing in here? You're always on the outskirts looking in, kind of like, I'm a big fan, but I'm more like security for the bear. I hang out on the perimeter. Anybody gets squirrely, he goes and puts paws on it for me. What's up, Joe? Third, another name. Wow, look at you, man. Third place, my bronze medal goes to Island Jen. Rick, is she watching? I hope she's watching. Now, Rick, you sort of won that medal, okay? Let's be honest. Your name's on there, but really our wives win everything that we win. You know that. Much love to you. Honestly, Raider Nation, as you're listening, whenever you get a chance to meet Rick Samarano and Island Jen, do not miss it. Class act, top to bottom, hardcore Raider fan, as hard as you'll ever meet. Two of the nicest people, two of the nicest Raider fan people and couple I've ever met. Great people. Miss you, brother. Much love. When I say I miss you, I know we hung out, but I miss even our talks. When I go live. So I'm gonna get that back together when I can. Okay. John Leon says, what do you think about Jordan Meredith at center? I don't think much about that, John. but I wouldn't hate it because Jordan Meredith is obviously multifaceted. I would be willing to bet money that he's probably played it at least once or twice, whether that was in high school or college. It doesn't really matter because he's going to have that familiarity with it in his mind, so he's not walking into it blindly. So as a player, he's not going to lose confidence. He's just going to know, okay, I got another job. It's been a while, but I've done this. I can do this, and he'll go into it with that mentality, I think, personally. My bro bear. What's up, Big Joe? Mark Alvarez, family in the house. My guy right there. Jim Garrison. What's up, Jim G? Don't wash off. Tell him, Rick, okay? It don't wash off. It goes where I go. Aloha, brother and Mama Bear. John Souza, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Appreciate that, Jim. I'm glad to be back, and I missed you guys, too. S.A. Big Dog, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Went from third to first, not to even making the list. And now let's talk about the Kissing Bandit for a bit. He's already the Kissing Bandit. Did you ever think you would find out this much stuff about Christian Wilkins just going out the door? Jesus. And that's just part of the scandal. There's more to it. I have more, trust me. And remember, consider a subscription to RaiderBear family page. It's just $5 a month. You can cancel it anytime, but you won't want to when you realize all the good things we do all over the world for charities that we've been working with for over 5 years now, right? About 4 or 5 years now. And also on YouTube, if you would, please like if you enjoy the show and subscribe if you enjoy it even more. Help me with that algorithm. Steven Shaw! And this is how I always acknowledge stars given to the show because we really appreciate you because you help the show keep it on a moving down the street. I'm sure there's more in the Wilkins release. What's your take on that? Mark, so what was going around and they didn't want it to get out because obviously you're always trying to keep things like that in-house, or well, things like what I'm about to describe to you in-house. But the word that was going around in the locker room about the guy was just that he was goofy. You know what I mean? Just not a serious guy. Now, we saw this when he was with the Dolphins. He was dancing all the time, pumping his fist. There's all sorts of NFL audio of him talking to players, and a player would look at him and go, "Shut up, fool, or I'll kill you." And he would go, "Please don't kill me, sir. I don't want to kill you. Can't we be friends?" He's really silly. And to be honest with you, when I first saw it, I laughed at all of it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was kind of cool that a guy at that level with that much money on the line, pressure, you're playing against a lot of other gifted guys that – they want to win and, be considered elite and things like that, just like you do when you came into this league. So even though you may be silly and big and, people think you can play, there's going to be a lot of other guys that want to make sure they show that you can't play. They're going to beat you. So, see, to me, that commands a certain amount of seriousness. I'm not saying don't play. I'm not saying don't be silly. But what I mean is the word was he was taking it in the locker room. And you can't play with your teammates like that. Now, I say that after watching him doing it with Dolphin teammates and laughing, but I didn't realize the effect that could have, especially when you consider he's been with us for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? I mean, he just got here, and he's already, well, there's videos. He was posting videos of himself in, like, flip-flops walking around the gym. Most people who go into gyms know you do not go into a gym in flip-flops. There's metal everywhere. There's metal plates everywhere. People are moving weights, and weights get rolling around and stuff like that. Accidents happen, you know what I mean? And so it's just an unwritten rule that's a written rule in most gyms, but amongst grown men in a professional gym with millionaires, most of them will just look the other way, but you're really not supposed to do that. Now, add to that, the guy's in there because he's recovering from foot issues. And then a video made it to the internet, and then, obviously he probably posts a lot of things that don't go viral to where everyone sees it, but a video he made went viral of him kind of getting down and dancing in the weight room, and it looked bad. It looked bad. I mean, and this is from a guy. I don't want to trash a guy going out the door, okay? Especially when I don't feel like he was disrespectful to the Raiders. He just wasn't professional. That's it. We got basically Antonio Brown again. Just less damaging. You know what I mean? The guy wasn't confronting coaches. He wasn't confronting players. But one of the players on the team was doing some sort of exercise. They weren't specific about what it was. It could have been shoulder presses. It could have been pull downs. Who knows? But we know he was sitting in an upright position like I am now, his head exposed. And Christian Wilkins came from behind to say something to him like, "Hey, baby," and went to kiss his forehead. Well, like it is in a lot of gyms, the guy sitting in the chair, even though the guy was behind him, he could see him in the mirrors in front of him leaning over to do that, so he dipped his head down like, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? Grown men don't walk around in gyms and kiss other grown men. They don't. This has nothing to do with sexuality. It has nothing to do with any of that. I don't care. We're not going to make this about who's gay and who isn't. None of that matters. None of that matters. Be it whether he is or he isn't or was or whatever he may be, it's not okay. And the reaction the guy had to it, I would have had as well, and most of you would have had as well. And ladies, let's be honest. I mean, ladies, do you want a woman who you just consider a colleague that you work with, whether that's in an office or on a sports team, to come over to you from behind while you're exercising, which to most of you, we go to the gym, we just do our thing. See, me, I'm the kind of person, I focus when I'm in the weight room. I mean, every rep, every breath, every plan, everything I'm doing, I'm thinking in my head nonstop. So you are interrupting me watching my own movie about myself, getting my work done. When I'm in the gym, if you come up to me and even talk to me, I don't even like that. And it's why I don't look at people when I work out. I do not look at their eyes because I don't care what they're looking at. I'm not there for them to look at my body. I know it's nice. And I know people in gyms want to look at each other and their nice bodies. Not interested. Not interested. I'm just not that kind of guy. I've been grown for a long, long time. I was grown at 15. And I mean that seriously. And I only mean that in the sense, sure, I made mistakes, but things with girls, you know what I mean? I already knew I could do that. I already knew I was the kind of guy, if I wanted to meet a new girl, if a girl dumped me, or if I tried to meet a girl and she didn't like me, I didn't care. I never cared. Because you go on to the next. It's no different to me like buying another car. And my dad and my uncle and other people in my life, men in my life, prepared me for that. So that's really why I was able to do it. It's nothing special on my part. I'm just talking about myself for a moment, which I should probably stop doing. So anyway, so the defensive tackle basically tried to kiss a guy on the top of his head, and now whoever it was, he tried to kiss. And I will be honest with you, I don't know who that player is. The article I read about it, and then the little bit more article research I did before the show on it, didn't really go into naming who the Raider was that he tried to put a smooch on. Say it that way. So you add that to the video of him dancing, and I'm just going to say it. I mean, I try to keep it a family show. Even if kids are watching, I try to explain things so that even if kids are watching, it's not a big deal. I want my guy friends and my female friends, if their mom's over, their grandma's, in the front room with them watching this, you don't have to turn it off. You probably should turn me down. Raiders! But I keep it clean. So here's how I'll describe this. You know how they had that song? It got really popular for a while. It was a hip-hop track. And I know you'll all recognize this because no matter who you are, you heard it at least once or twice. But the guy would say, get down to the flow, get down to the flow. And he was just talking about a girl that was twerking, and he wanted her to get lower and lower. He was basically doing that. He was doing that. I mean, on top of the fact that you shouldn't be in there in flip-flops, on top of the fact that the team is already starting to label you as a goof and doesn't like being around you because of the way you behave, you then add trying to kiss a guy. I don't care where it was, okay? Oh, it's innocent because it's on the top of his head. I don't want to hear that. I don't want anybody doing that to me. So every Raider fan watching me right now, when you see me at a game or in the parking lot partying, please do not walk over and try to kiss me on top of my head. Now people are going to try. Okay, just make sure it's me and not Mama Bear. You will not like my response. I will need bail money. Okay, you can do it to me. But that's it. Ellis Irving, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. I'm doing great, brother. Sean Scott, I'm glad you caught the show. Miguel Garcia, 559 Fresno in the house. What's up, brother? Yeah, Sean, I was kind of going with him too, if for no other reason than we found out that he was supposed to have the surgery, quite a while ago, and he just kept putting it off. Now, we know 99% of the time, at least it's been my experience, NBA players, basketball players, they don't want surgeries to interrupt their vacations. So even though the guy's foot was bad and he needed the surgery, it wasn't so bad that he couldn't put on a pair of Jordans and walk around on it. It was just a break, you know what I mean? And it was healing. It just wasn't 100%. So he needed the surgery because he had multiple breaks, okay? And it was going down that pinky part of the bottom of his foot on the outside edge of the foot where you plant when you cut and curve or try to stop. And so it's important, and he kept putting it off, and then he waits until we're almost damn near to camps and pre-camps, and then you get the surgery. So now if he was still with the team right now, we're still dealing with that foot. You know what I mean? And he goes in x-rays, it shows inflammation, it shows small cracks still. So it doesn't matter that he's walking around in flip-flops and breaking it down to the flow in the weight room. It's so ridiculous. That's one of those videos I wish I could take out of my head. That's one of those ones. Just sort of delete. It was gross. He had his big butt all out there, and he was just, I'll give him credit. He was working it. I mean, like Megan the Stallion. Just popping it. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is what you do in front of men in a weight room? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of glad he's gone. That to me, and I know that might sound weird, but that to me, death penalty. And I mean that seriously. You're not a serious guy. We're paying you way too much money. We're giving you way too much responsibility for you to come in and break it down to the flow with a bad foot. It's just, I mean, it goes beyond it being a bad look. It's just, it's unprofessional. I worked as a bouncer so I can put paws on folks if you need it. Brother, just looking at you, I know that. Have you seen your jaw lately? Jesus, man. You could play. I mean, you look like you could play Thanos. I mean, you are just big. You know what I mean? You can see it clearly, brother. Yes, I'm hiring. You are hired. When I need a body guy, you're hired. Manny Ramirez, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Oh, great profile pic. You and the missus looking beautiful. The deal with Christian Wilkins is, Manny, he's off the team. He was becoming a pain in the ass. He didn't get his surgery when he was supposed to. And let's be honest, he assaulted a fellow player in the locker room. I mean, he just did. I'm sorry. I know assault's a big word. When we say the word assault, we think of violence. We think of men punching or women fighting someone off. You know, things like that is assault. But in reality, it's assault. I mean, if the guy kissed me on top of my head, I'm sorry. I swear on my name, I don't know what I might have done. I don't know if I would have just sat there and said, what the hell you're doing. I mean, to me, that's going too far. That's just going too far, man. I mean, what would a woman do if you reached across the room or a table at a bar and kissed her on her face? She'd slap the hell out of you, or try to, or punch you, or hit you with her purse, or throw her drink, and do all the above, right? That's all violence. See, to me, I'm the kind of person, I got to put hands on you if you're doing something that crazy and disrespectful to me. You know, I'm not condoning that in any way for anyone else. Just saying me. I'd have a problem with that. It's been really busy, but got to get some R8RBEAR. Hope to see you opener. I love you, brother. I know you're going to be there. You're always Raider Nation. Yes, Geno Smith is looking really good. We should talk about that. Rick Samarano, my reporter at Raiders camp. We're in the fifth day of camp. And isn't this nice, you guys? Haven't you noticed? We've never been allowed to be at camp before. This is the first year they're doing it. I thought that was really cool. I think that obviously coincides with Spy Tech, Tom Brady, and Pete Carroll. I really do. I know that has nothing to do with Mark Davis, because Mark Davis was all about keep the doors shut, let's get serious business done. But then real football guys came in and went, hey, man, these guys are working hard enough. You know what I mean? We don't need to keep locking down on them, telling them they can't play their hip-hop music in the locker room and things like that. Stuff that Josh McDaniels was doing. Anything Josh McDaniels wants to implement in a locker room, you should make a blueprint as what you do not do. You do the opposite. He wanted to make it a lab room or something. It was ridiculous. Yeah, it's sad that Wilkins didn't work out, Rick, but at the same time, he just wasn't being right by us, and I don't like that. The Raiders are finally taking everything serious. Yes, Sean Scott, that is a fact. And we got to, no. Bob, we don't talk about pickles on my show, and you know that. Unless it's about what I did for charity, which, was quite manly of me, if I might say. And I might. Kenny Blair! All the way from the land of whiskey and crumpets. That man just sent me coins from an ocean away. My British Blair buddy, Kenny Blair. Much love to you, brother. Johnny, I'm just going to leave that there and let everybody read it. What Johnny said. Jesse Parker, my fashion designer. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Jesse, listen, that Third Reich shirt, you got to do that for me, man. You know, normally I don't do this with you. I bothered you about Invincible Girl, but, it had been a while since I called you about anybody. It's been a while since Thundar and Spawn and Afro Samurai. All right, maybe I do talk to you a lot about shirts. But this one's important. I have to be able to make fun of that human hyena without actually saying anything. I got you on focusing in the gym, teammate or not. Some dudes put his hands on me and tries to kiss me or otherwise distract me when I'm doing a set. He might get something from me, and it wouldn't be nice. See, Joe, I'm sorry. I don't. And see, let's get it out of the high school thing mentality. You know what I mean? We're not all just guys that want to fight. I don't want to fight men. Okay, I'm a married man. I have a beautiful wife. I have a beautiful daughter. I have 3 great sons, 3 handsome, great sons. My days of throwing hands with guys, you know what I mean? Not because I can't, but I mean, I have no interest in that mentality anymore, ever, other than in the interest of protecting people I love. You know what I'm saying? So having said that, that guy would have got knocked out. He would have got knocked out. Okay, so focused on camp. Thank you, Johnny. So what is one of the best stories coming out of camp? And I just think this is cool. And I know most of you aren't going to go with this because, obviously we've been hearing about Geno Smith throwing zingers to Brock Bowers. I don't know how many of you have heard about that, but he's already got coaches in camp. And when you see this, things are going well. Ooh. Oh, did you see that throw? Oh. When they pucker up, Rick and Morty, whenever Morty was embarrassed, he would, when they make that face, good things are happening. There's a whole lot of that face going on with Geno Smith to Brock Bowers. It's been good. And obviously that's a weapon we want to work on. Obviously that's the border of my show tonight because I'm so excited about Brock Bowers. But I'm even more excited about what he does for us. He opens the field for everyone else, Jack Besh and Dante Thornton, who also are getting a lot of praise in camp. But what for? Thornton, for his blazing speed, his size. When you see him in public, he looks taller than they have him registered, and he goes up high, hands of stone, stone sounds bad, but he catches everything. He's catching everything. And then Jack Besh's skill set is already starting to show. The footwork, the route tree, the smoothness, and the comfort with those routes in that route tree. A lot of guys, you can tell them to run a 7 or say run a Z post, and they're going to go, well, okay, I know what that is, but I haven't run one in a while. I haven't been practicing that, or haven't run since college, or whatever the case may be. No, Jack Besh got skills. He has a skill set. I honestly think that Brock Bowers and then Jack Besh, this might be looked at as one of the best drafts we've ever had. I'm going to go down and just go ahead and go out on a limb and say that. And by the way, I don't know how many of you remember this. Most of you who watch my show religiously, you'll remember. It was a month ago, long before any of the rumors about Christian Wilkins came out, and I told you we were going to let him go. I was sure of it. And I said the only reason why I'm positive of that is because of the injury he has, the way he's handling it, and he's not recovering the way he's supposed to be. We had already heard that he'd been in a boot, out of that boot, and then right back into that boot. As soon as I heard that and the lateness of when it was occurring this late into this coming season, and then add to that what you're paying him, you can't hold up a roster spot for a guy that's acting like that. Doesn't get the surgery early. Prioritizes his vacation time first. Then comes in, gets the surgery, lags on his healing because he's not being professional, which we could see clearly, because the guy was in a pair of flip-flops, okay, thongs, getting down to the floor in the gym. Something he absolutely should not have been doing. Any kind of pressure and movement like that, where you're pounding your feet and moving your weight up and down, is not okay. Now, it might be okay for all of us as normal people. We're starting to feel better and we do a little boogie. I mean, so what? But this is a guy that has to lift weights. It has to go out and cut on that foot and jump and run and wrestle guys on play after play on play after play after play. You know what I mean? And we're going to need that to hold up. And this idiot's doing that. And what message does that send to his teammates? Would you take him as a serious teammate? Would you want to go out onto the field and risk your body, risk getting injured? And players say going to war too much. I don't like that because it's not war. And it takes away from the seriousness of people we've lost in war and things like that. So I don't like that being said. But I understand the phrase. Guy, it's the next closest thing. I'm going out there with a guy on my right, and he might be a linebacker just like I am. And so I expect him to do his job. So if I go in there and I sell out and I throw my body in there to drill someone, and I know they're going his way, I expect him to be on his side of the field, not trying to read and react and coming over to my side and leaving a hole on his side that the guy could cut back into. No, do your job. I'm going to do mine. And you got to be able to trust a guy with those kind of things. You're risking yourself and you want to win. And it's that kind of faith and trust from teammates that leads to winning. And you got to get that built. And we're seeing that. Dekamarion Richardson is the defensive back that is really making plays in camp already. Now, Darian Porter looks nice, but there's some things about Darian Porter we should understand first. Darian Porter, when he first started playing college ball, was a wide receiver, okay? So remember, you know the L word that I hate the most, and it's not losses, and it's not Leon and his legacy. It's the other dreaded L. It's learning. I do not like guys to come into the NFL, and then I hear they're learning something. And that's the problem here. Darian Porter was a corner in college football, but he only really had 2024 where he started every game. The year prior to that, he was still dabbling in wide receiver / being a DB, and wonder if that's what would benefit him best on the team. See, I don't love that. And so now we've brought in a guy who's, the reason he's good at DB is because at wide receiver he wasn't, I think it was a breakaway speed thing. I know the guy's fast, but I don't know if maybe he's like DK Metcalf where he comes out of his breaks slower, so that 4.3 top end speed doesn't benefit him as much. Whereas with a defensive back, that 4.3 speed benefits him because he's just going to sit on that when he thinks the wide receiver's trying to make his break, and then you sit on your God-given speed and you go with him. But I think that would benefit him more as a defensive back. I understand the project. I already heard in camp that he really impressed Pete Carroll because Pete Carroll said something to him about something that he wanted him to look for on a route. And when when Dekamarion Richardson saw what Pete Carroll was saying, he broke on the ball and he knocked it down. But he had such a good break on the ball, it should have been an interception. Okay, he just dropped the ball. So later on, X amount of plays later, I don't know exactly how many plays it was, but X amount of plays later, a similar route gets called. Dekamarion sees it again, and this time he does get the pick. So I like what I'm hearing. This is part of what I was talking to you guys about, why I was so excited about Pete Carroll. It isn't just the fact that he brings an experienced head coach, and it isn't just the fact that he brings in that great grandfather that you want to hug, you know what I mean? You think he's bringing you warm cookies. He gives you that love, grandpa kind of vibe, you know what I mean, with the players. All the players talk about it, you know what I mean? But he's also cool, you know what I mean? He drops elbows on guys and, does wrestling pins and dances to rap music and knows the lyrics to some of it, you know what I mean? And so he's cool. But what he also brings to that is a technique where he says to his defensive backs and his safeties, I am going to give you guys a job. And on every play, you will know what that job is. Do you play man and play tight? Or do you play man and play soft? Are we in cover? Are we going to blitz? And whatever your job is on your side of the field is whatever you have to deal with, and that's it. No matter if you get juked right out of your pants and the wide receiver in front of you goes, and he's gone. Let him go. Because we have plans for that behind you with the safeties and how they're playing on a play. And so he makes defensive backs more confident because they go, oh. So in other words, what you're saying is you're keeping everything in front of us, and then one of us on almost every different play, the free safety, the right corner, the left corner, the nickel, it could be anyone. But on any given play, one of us is going to have a shot at the ball because we're always going to be getting pressure from our front line. We're going to be using the front line in different ways, blitzing from the left, the right, sometimes coming up the gap with a linebacker, sometimes using a safety, etc. But all of that with the intention of making a quarterback go, uh-oh, and immediately raise the hand up and think, I've got to get rid of the ball now. Well, if you make the quarterback get rid of the ball that fast, and I know I'm saying something a lot of you already know, but I'll say it quickly. If you make that quarterback make the decision faster than they want to, defensive backs still have receivers and tight ends in front of them. They usually haven't had enough time in that amount of snap. 1, 2, 3, sits on his back foot. Now he wants to throw. You might have a bubble screen. You might have a slant pattern, but your tight end's probably still running his route. Your two wide receivers are probably still running their routes. Your running back is probably in the middle of the line, either blocking or trying to get through there to get out and get into a pattern and catch a ball. But the point is we can put our defensive backs in an advantageous situation to make plays, because here's the problem. We don't have depth. We have no depth, and that's what the problem is. We can talk about the guys we have, what they're doing at camp, and all that's legit. But if one of them goes down, and we all know one of them will, who do you bring in? The guys we have on the bench, although they're nice, they're guys. And I'm not talking about like Jacorian Bennett. Jacorian Bennett might end up taking one of the starting positions. I think Eric Stokes is going to definitely be the one. And I think, with what Dekamarion Richardson's doing, I don't think that's going to give him the number 2 corner. But, he might get into a little bit of a fight for the nickel. You know what I mean? So I like what we're seeing, but we do definitely need to make probably even one more deal in the backfield. I would really like to see us do that. Kenny, I really appreciate the love, brother. I'm glad to be back on. Sean Scott, I don't know how he could realize that quickly he didn't want to play with the Raiders. I think it was just contract stuff. I think they probably told him, go get the surgery. He didn't want to. Front office got mad. He didn't like that they did, and that's enough right there. Where a player that's playing for that kind of money with that kind of pressure, he's going to want the team to have his back, and I don't think they did. Not after, why would we? That's not wrong on our part. Why would we have his back if he's, acting like a jackwagon? Tim Noport, I appreciate the love, brother. Hi, Peggy. I'm feeling much better. Hi, babies. I'm sure they're in bed. Jesse, everyone's doing real good now. I was kind of walking around with a bug, but I'm doing much better. Vicky! Get it! Mwah. Mwah. And one for Miss Ginn. The lovely Vicky Ginn's mom. I love you, girl. Kind of going through that too, but you know that already. He would be eating cement sandwiches for real. Cement sandwiches, I like that. By the way, Bear's in the house. Hi, Nisi Tweet Thomas. Hi, love. Tanamoku, what's up? Welcome to the show. Nisi said training camp was good today. And honestly, I heard Devin White already damn near knocked the living hell out of someone. I heard it was like day 1 or 2. They went out in pads, and Devin White said, kaboom! I was like, yes. Bring it. I loved hearing that. No, there will be no more about pickles, Vicky. Okay, just don't let them encourage you. Can we never mention McFool again? My loving wife and father-in-law teased me relentlessly. Tim, your wife's pretty cool. I like it. Hey, man, you got to have that in a good marriage. You got to have that. I will, Nisi. I will. I heard AOC is looking great, too. Sean Scott, you know what? You look, okay? Look, I'm not putting butts in them, okay? And all these sons of monkeys who gave up on AOC, okay? I told you before the Raiders even drafted him. Woo! That was my dark horse quarterback in this draft, and if the Raiders got him, we would do some things with him. Well, we've done some things, not too many good things, but we've done some things. And I'd really like to see AOC get a chance. Now, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. That means I don't really hate to say it. What if, and this is a big if we start the season, let's say, after 4 weeks, let's say we're 2-2, okay? And let's say one of the losses was legit, like we lost on the road to someone, but the other L was because the quarterback didn't perform too well, okay? And then we get, let's say, to week 3 and we get a win because the defense plays great and Genty gets 130 on the ground and 2 touchdowns, and Geno kind of gets shielded. And then let's say we get to week 4 and we win again, and now we're 2-2 at week 4, but Geno gets hurt. And he didn't tear his Achilles or anything like that, no broken bones. But let's say he strained his back, okay? And he needs 3 games to get his act together. Okay, so for the next 3 games, all we've got is AOC. If AOC goes 3-0, I know you know what I'm thinking, okay? And I know you know that I know you know what I'm thinking, okay? AOC never, and I mean never, got a fair shake. Never. And if they give him an opportunity, which it looks like they really are. I mean, he's getting a lot of snaps. Now, they know Geno's the guy. And I think Pete feels like he knows Geno well enough to go, you know what, let's give AOC almost as many snaps because I want to see what that guy has. I know what Geno is. I had Geno through 2 Pro Bowl seasons. In 2022 and 2023, Geno threw for Pro Bowl numbers and was having basically a comeback, a resurgence that Will Smith would be jealous of. Hasn't that been pathetic? I bit off more than I could chew, and then I chewed it. No. Those that have heard Will Smith's freestyle on that Lemonade show know what I'm talking about. But, I'm telling you, man, if AOC gets an opportunity with Chip Kelly's offense, hey, man, don't forget, look, AOC, when he was at Purdue, he went 1-2-3 throw, 1-2-3 throw. He was in a system at Purdue. And it's why he was the 3rd highest rated quarterback in completion percentage I forget how they say the stat, but it's least balls dropped that he threw, more are caught than are actually dropped. He was like 2nd or 3rd in the league in that too. And I'm saying, I love AOC. I think if he ends up getting a chance, and he won't unless Geno Smith gets hurt, like my scenario, or sucks. And I don't think Geno's going to suck. I really don't. Chip Kelly's offense, the way he has it set up, he gives you an a la carte menu, and he sets it to your strengths. So if they've already looked at Geno as the starter, and they have, because of the contract they gave him and the familiarity they have with what he did in Seattle, Chip's going to put together a slew of plays that he's super confident in, so that if he calls a run and he wants to switch it to a pass, he'll know exactly what he wants to go to, and vice versa. So it'll be interesting. I think the only chance that AOC will get is if Geno gets hurt, though. Shut up, Bob. We'll probably give him to you. You're stupid. Raider Chivas, what's up, R8RBEAR? Good to see that you're feeling better. Appreciate that. Greetings from San Luis Rio, Colorado, Sonora, Mexico. Raiders! Appreciate that, Raider Chivas. Much love, brother. Mark Alvarez, no. I'm not. I'm trying, but it's hard. It's difficult for me. My family situation is a little bit difficult. I don't want to go into the whole thing, but it's just responsibilities I have. Heard there was an altercation between Wilkins and another player, but it was Renz that first said it, so I don't know how credible it is. Oh, I don't dog Mitchell Renz. He's all right. He's a good guy. I met him in person. He's usually pretty accurate, so... I mean, I'm not saying the guy's never been wrong, but he not intentionally. You know, he's a good podcaster. I like the guy. He's a good cop. I don't like to even imply like beefs. You know what I mean? He and I do the same thing. I don't care if he's the best in the world. I don't care if I'm 2nd or 27th. You know what I mean? This is not Drake and Kendrick. You know. Hello, R8RBEAR. Your info is great. I think and expect the Raiders will be great, even with the negativity that I'm hearing. Raider haters, I'm excited for this season. It will be okay, right, Raider Nation? All day. Hope your family is doing well. Much love to you, brother. Appreciate the prayer. And I would say this to you. The way we handled Wilkins and handled it as quickly as we did, and the fact that I knew that we would, was my confidence in Pete Carroll and Spytech that they weren't going to look at a problem guy and then sit there and hoe and hum about what to do. No, get them out of here. Even if you get dead money, even if it's a problem, get them out of here. Because, see, that's the old school way to do it, because that's the best way to do it. If you let guys linger and you make it about money, his teammates see that, and then they know they can do that. They don't like it. Some of the guys on the team will, get bitter with Wilkins. Other guys on the team will get bitter with management for not just dealing with them. Well, instead they did. Get out of here. You know what I mean? And it was justifiable. I think there was 3 reasons. Putting off the surgery, dancing in the locker room and posting it on social media, and trying to kiss a fellow teammate in the locker room, which is absolutely, positively unacceptable. It's no different than sexual assault against a female. You do not do it. Guy on guy, it's not funny. It's not humorous. If you find that funny, do it to your family members. Do it to guys you've known for decades that understand your humor. Do that with your dads and your little brothers, your nieces and your nephews. Fine. But don't bring that into a locker room with grown, strong men who ain't there about business other than football. If you can't tell, this is making me mad. We paid that guy a lot of money. We put a lot of faith, and we just wanted to see him do it. He broke his foot. Now do your job. And he wanted to play around. He wanted to put things off. You know what I mean? When I was in charge of the 3rd largest country club in California for quite a few years. And I was a professional. And I used to bring my staff together. And I would have 15 to 20 people that were all working underneath me. And I would bring them all into one room and I would say to them, listen to me. I need you to understand something. I don't fire people. You fire yourselves. I will never fire you unless you break a rule you know you shouldn't. Unless you don't show up for work and go about the proper procedures of letting people know at work that you're not going to make it to work. Those are all things under your control. So when you get fired and you say to me, please don't fire me, please, Mr. Bordelon, please don't fire me, I'm not. You did. And I know you can tell by how I'm looking at you, I'm not playing. That was the exact same speech I gave every employee that worked for me. And I told them, I'm gonna have fun with you guys. I'm gonna high five you when I see you coming in the door. If you're wearing something that looks nice, I'm gonna tell you. If I like your kicks for one of the guys and I like your Nikes, I'll tell you. Nothing fruity. I'm not gonna kiss anybody. But at the same time, I keep it light. I want everybody to be happy at their job. I want everyone to be happy to come to work. I don't want them to feel like threatened that I'm gonna fire them. I'm not gonna fire you. You're gonna fire you. So if you do your job, don't worry about me. I'll sign your checks, high five you, see you tomorrow. You know what I mean? And he wasn't that guy. He wasn't about that business. He wasn't 10 tones down. And I don't like guys like that. Tyree Wilson is apparently looking power at the 3-tech. I've been saying since his rookie year, he's better suited at defensive tackle. Tyree, welcome to the show. As usual, great comment. Tyree, we're talking about Tyree Wilson. Raider DeVillion, great comment as always. I apologize for mispronouncing you. And yes, it is being reported. It is known that he can do that. To be quite honest with you, in college, there were times where they were trying to hide the fact that he doesn't have bend on the edge. And we all know Max Crosby is one of the best at bending, spinning, fighting with his hands, or bull rushing. Multiple skills at the position. It's like having 7 different black belts, and he just beats guys on the offensive line with his moves over and over again. Tyree Wilson has one move, Hulk smash, and he tries to grab you and push you into the quarterback, a bull rush, or he tries to just move you out of the way and then run to the quarterback. He does literally throw guys. He's that big and he's that strong. He's incredibly powerful. But the problem is that on a scale of 1 to 10, if your power level, let's say, is a 10, okay, you're going to be going up against a lot of guys who are 8s and 9s. They don't have to be a 10 to deal with you. They have skills too. They know how to hand fight and use their weight and their leverage. So even though you may be a 10 and you may beat them from time to time, you got to have skills. You got to have tools in your tool chest. You know what I mean? Like they say in baseball, got to be a 5-tool baseball player. And if you're not, you're going to be a guy, but you're never going to be a guy. You know what I mean? You're never going to be a Hoff, Hall of Famer, HOF. Scroll down, let me make sure I'm getting, okay, I almost got everybody tonight. I appreciate everybody tuning in, all the great questions. I really appreciate all the well wishes. I love you guys more. What position do you think we are really lacking in? Vicky, we don't have depth at corner, and the corners we have are young, and another corner in Eric Stokes he's technically not necessarily someone you could say is proven. He is a cover corner. He does have a great body. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, which is exactly what Pete Carroll likes. Remember Richard Sherman when he was with the Legion of Boom with the Seahawks? That guy was 6'2", 6'3", 200, 210 pounds. Carroll likes big corners because he wants guys that can support the run so that he can you don't have to have a cornerback that has that little body blazing speed. That's what the defense has always laid back on throughout the years. Most defensive backs are 5'10", you know what I mean, 5'8", 5, whatever, but usually not 6-footers because they want guys who can really whistle, that can really run with these wide receivers. But the wide receiver has grown and changed. It's taller guys now with long arms, and they catch the ball high and they high point. So you need big physical guys that can play with those guys, and that's what Pete Carroll's going to put on the field for us. Much love, Vicky, always. Joe Holman, all that we heard early on in camp was that Pete Carroll felt like he was the most interesting player in camp because he's so raw, and yet he's already showing enough skill set that they think he's going to get snaps at defensive tackle for sure. He won't just be on special teams. In fact, he may not be on special teams because he's kind of a liability in that way. He's a huge guy, but I can't imagine, moving 350-plus pounds left to right is pretty easy for that guy. And let's save his legs and just put him in there on the defensive tackle. Not to mention J.J. Pegas and Tonka Hemingway. Tonka Hemingway and J.J. Pegas are going to be good players, okay? They really are. It's just I'm not ready to try to sell you guys that they're going to shore up our problems in the middle. So that's another problem that we do potentially have there. There's just, even if they play well, there's going to be times where they get blasted, where like a guy on the opposing team runs right up the middle and gets 16 yards, you know what I mean? And we're all sitting there like, what the hell? And then he does it, 5 plays later, and then 6 plays later, and then 4 plays later, and then 8 plays later. And it just keeps happening, not repetitively, but it's happening enough that it's a problem because you have your kids in the middle learning their way through the game. You switch in Laki Tassi for Tonka Hemingway. Well, that's lack of experience switched out for lack of experience. So you're putting a lot of faith in a lot of young guys. So I think we need to look a little bit more veteran. We probably will, but they won't be for starters. They'll be for guys to really get these young kids as coached up as we possibly can, both on and off the field. AOC will be on another team soon. I've been saying that. I don't want his style of quarterback as a Raider quarterback. He's not even on par with DC as far as arm talent. Well, no argument about arm talent. I'm just saying in a system where you go 1, 2, 3, deliver the ball. 1, 2, 3, deliver the ball. That's AOC's game. And Chip Kelly really does want to get the ball out that fast. There's going to obviously be rollout plays. They're going to utilize Geno Smith's legs. They've already pretty much come out and said that the reason why they really love Geno Smith is because they can utilize his legs on the left plays and right plays and so on, rolling him out. And that's not something you really, see as a strength of AOC's. But I don't think it's something he can't do. So in other words, if you only asked him to do it 4 to 6 times a game, I don't see why that's a problem. I think AOC could roll out, and I think he could make plays. So by releasing Wilkins, what does that do for our salary cap this year, or do we have to wait till next year to see the cap space? Probably both. We're going to have to wait to see what it does to our cap, and we have to wait to see what it'll give us as far as flexibility, probably going into next year because he's going to have dead cap money and so on and so forth. I don't know why we went with Gardner last year, but the coach whose name I will not mention really screwed AOC over, yeah. Where is my granddaughter-in-law? I think she's in the other room writing. She's working on another book. Wasn't Wilkins known for grabbing guys' junk? Thought it was just to distract them. Guess it was deeper. Well, Tanamoku, I hadn't heard that one. I knew he was a real prankster with the Dolphins, but I hadn't heard anything about grabbing guys' junk. Raider DeVillion has a quote from John Feliciano where he said, "Bro has always been a little freaky." Yeah, and I just don't think that's cool in a professional NFL team. I appreciate that, Anthony. Much love to you, brother. Contreras, I love that name. Steven Shaw! Thank you, brother. And as always, stars contributed to the show go directly to charities that we work with all over the world. And we really appreciate it when you do that because it also helps us out with all the equipment and stuff we have to use for the show. We really appreciate it. I'd like that, Vicky. I don't think Tyree will be agile enough for defensive end in a 4-3, but I think he can develop 3 technique moves, which I heard he's been really working on. Well, Raider DeVillion, again, you're correct, but I would say to you, though, he's not that far off. He's already been working on the inside. He did it in college because, again, they were trying to hide the fact that he does not have a big skill set at defensive end. So why would they hide that? So that it didn't hurt his opportunities for contracts in the NFL when he got drafted. And obviously it didn't because we drafted him in the top 10 without any bend. To me, that was a wasted pick. I wasn't that harsh when we made the pick, but I did say the guy has no bend. He plays like Frankenstein, and I don't like it. He's not going to be able to help Max Crosby. He's not any better than Malcolm Kuntz. I didn't understand the pick. He's just a big, huge bar bouncer. But there's plenty of guys in the NFL that play offensive line that can handle bar bouncers. So it made no sense to me. Yes, Nisi Tweet reminds us Pete Carroll was running all over the field and he was so involved. Yeah, Nisi, he goes to the guys, he talks to them about their personal lives, he impresses them because he remembers their wives' names and things of that nature. The guy's pretty cool, and I think he's genuine. I really do. I don't think it's just a job. It's just when he gets to the new job, he's excited. He's meeting new people, and so he immediately, starts to assimilate that and create a family atmosphere. I think that's amazing, and he does it genuinely over and over again. He goes to teams and they rave about him. They currently have Tossie learning offensive line. I'm a bit disappointed in that. I think he's going to be a monster on either side of the ball. I personally am hoping it's on defense. Yeah, that could be having something to do with what's going on with Miller and the Chargers. The Chargers, I was going to report this, but I didn't get a chance. Rashawn Slater is the big left tackle of the Chargers. They just re-signed him to the largest contract to any left tackle ever. Now, our guy, Colton Miller, is in the last year of his contract, so he's looking for a new deal. Well, whatever he was looking to be paid, it just went up because that guy got $28 million a season. And I think that, and I'm being honest, I'm just going over my numbers because I read all this earlier, and I know I have all the numbers. I'm just making sure I have it right. But I know Colton Miller and his agent were probably going to start somewhere at the 19 to 22 million per season. But now with this guy getting 28, and he can argue that guy might be one of the better left tackles in football, and he is. But is he really that much better than Colton Miller? That Colton Miller should be way down here in fee compared to his now 28 million. So now Colton Miller might come in at 24, 26 million. And then we'll probably lose him. And I hate to say that at the end of a show, but it's a high likelihood that we'll lose him if he comes in that high. Because they probably just won't want to pay him that because Pete Carroll's coming in just like any new coach that comes in with an agenda, and he's not going to want one guy to suddenly go, hey, you know what, you're hamstrung now because I just got my $800 million gajillion dollar deal. And now you have no flexibility to do whatever you want or anything you want with the team coming in because I had to get my new deal. You know what I mean? So that could hamstring Pete Carroll. I would hate that. I hope that doesn't happen. And I don't think it will. I was almost there. It started to happen, then it didn't. There you are. right, that's my show. Much love. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force, for all you do. The energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice, active and veteran. Much love. All right, I appreciate you all tuning in. Look for me soon. I will be doing shows all this week. R8RBEAR Family Page. Please like and subscribe. Algorithm, YouTube. Let's go. I'm coming after you next, Mr. Beast. I heard Mr. Beast got the fake abs like Drake did. Pretty lame. I haven't seen him yet, but I heard he did that. What are you doing, man? You know what I mean? Spend your money on cars and boats and jet skis and clothes and homes and stuff like normal people. Buy abs. And Drake's whole body is like pudgy and soft, like all over his body, just except not on his abs. It looks weird. It does.